Hi everyone, marhaba, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Thank you so much for being part of the National Foreign Language Center Virtual Summit for this summer. My name is Lulu Mustafa and I am proud to be representing the Arabic program at Boston University here in Massachusetts and also a New England Regional Association for Language Learning Technology, NERALT organization. And let me take just a few seconds here to invite you to submit proposals for our annual virtual conference in October. And I encourage you all to attend also the conference. It's free and it will be held via Zoom. And if you would like more information, please visit our website at neralt.org or follow me on Twitter at Lulu Mustafa 8. As for our today's session, I will be sharing with you some intercultural activities and projects to elevate students' voices and make a change. In this presentation, we will discover together what intercultural communicative competence briefly mean. And I'm saying here briefly because the topic is dense and really cannot be covered in 20 to 30 minutes presentation, why it is essential, and finally in the session with the sample activities to develop our students' intercultural awareness. And before I start sharing with you some of the projects that I did with my students at VU, I would like to start with this quote by Luisa Palacio from the Education Week. Cultural awareness should be the first teaching strategy. And I can also add to that, that should be implemented in every lesson. So it should not really culture should not really be treated as a guest to our language classroom. It should not be only taught on once a week. It has to be implemented in all our activities. Okay, so how do we usually incorporate culture into our lessons? As many of us do, we teach culture by incorporating activities, songs, TV shows, talking about holidays, clothing, and food from the target culture into our lessons. Language and culture go hand in hand, and nothing makes a lesson come alive like real-world examples of vocabulary in action. Studying surface or visible culture can be exciting and motivating to students. But wait a minute, do you think it is good enough for students to communicate effectively with people from different cultures? I want you really to pause and think about that. Do you think the cultural activities and all these authentic, material or tangible or intangible cultural products that we use with our students, do you think all of that is good enough to help our students to communicate effectively with native speakers? Okay, that will lead us to explore really intercultural communicative competence. It is for sure that defining the concept itself is a complex task. But here is one of the simple definitions that resonate with the goals of our world language classes. So intercultural competence is the preparation of individuals to interact appropriately and effectively with those from other cultural backgrounds. And let's put many lines under the word other, and I'll tell you why in a second. So let's explore some of the activities and projects that I did with my students, and I will talk also about the benefits and impact of each one of them. Here is the first project, which is the International Music Festival. So let me just give you a brief idea about the project, and that based on the definitions that I have explored of the intercultural communicative competence, which is there's so many definitions there. As I said, it's a really dense topic, but the definition that I like the most is that it is about the intercultural communication is all about understanding what happens when people communicate with one another when they come from different cultures. And my students come from diverse backgrounds, and teaching them to develop their intercultural competence by focusing on Arab culture, to me, was not enough, even though it was the focal point. So how can we expect, the question is, how can we expect our students to carry out good communication with diverse classmates without allowing them to explore their own culture and share it with others? And from here came the idea of the International Music Festival. So in this project, students were asked to share parts of their intercultural heritage by either playing a song that represents an aspect of their culture. And here, yes, we are playing musical videos from other cultures, and of course, it's going to be in languages rather than the target language, which is here Arabic. But the video lasted between 2 to maximum 2.5 minutes. But the students, they talked about the video itself and how it represents part of their culture in the target language. So students, again, here they were asked to share a musical video that represents aspect of their culture, or play an instrument that is specific to their cultural music, or teach the class a traditional dance. And as you can tell here from the videos I'm sharing with you, I have videos from Scotland, from Italy, from Hawaiian, from Yemen, from Lebanon, India, China, and these are only just a few examples to mention. So here, such activity really helped all students to shift their worldview from avoiding cultural differences to seeking cultural differences. So this attitude transformation, including self-awareness and openness to new values and beliefs, served as a vital first step to becoming interculturally competent. And on top of that, remember that the students communicated fully in Arabic while sharing aspects of their home culture. So it is really a win-win situation. Now, this is another project also that I did with my students. It's titled Identity-Based Artifacts, which is a self-awareness activity. And in this project, the students were asked to select one artifact that represents an aspect of their identity and tells a story about their cultural backgrounds that they can share with the class. This artifact can be a picture, an instrument, a tool, a music clip, a piece of art, clothing, jewelry, etc. And if it's possible, I asked them to choose an item that illustrates something about their cultural background that is not obvious. So I want them to share something that they will never had the chance before to share it from our communicative, activities or tasks that we used to do in class together. So, and also, if they couldn't find that hidden part of their background, they were given the option to teach us something we may not have known about their culture. And these are sample projects that the students shared with their classmates. And really, you're going to be amazed how much you are going to learn about your students and from your students, and how really their classmates also, they appreciated the diversity and the beauty of their classmates' cultural background. So I have here some sample videos that some students shared, let's say, about, values that they practice in their culture, all the different kinds of beliefs and religions. Some of them, they talked about authentic food. Some they talked about jewelry that they inherited from their grandmother. And one student also talked about al-bakhur, which is like a scent that is known in the Gulf area. And this student, she's a heritage learner. She's originally from Yemen, but she never visited Yemen, and that's why she was really so appreciative to the opportunity to give her the chance to talk about her culture, that she really, like I can say, badly wanted to visit the country. So let me share with you just two examples, like this one here from Lebanon. it talks about one candy or one snack or one candy. It's a sweet that I used personally to eat when I was young, and it's called الطربوش. Just I'm gonna play it for a few seconds.
إذا بتسأل أي شخص عايش بلبنان بالسبعينات والثمانينات والتسعينات عن أكلة اسمها راس العقل بيضحك وبيقول لك هيدي أطيب أكلة، بس بيرجع بيقول لك هيدي ما بقى اسمها راس العقل، اسمها طربوش، لأنه عارفين قد بيرمز للعنصرية، بس نحن وصغار ما كنا نعرف هيدا الشي. شو هو الطربوش؟ الطربوش مزروعة ببيروت بمعمل شركة غندور من سنة 1968، وهي عبارة عن بسكوت مبرونة محطوط فوقه كمية من الناطف وملفوفة بطبقة من الشوكولاتة، وكلها بتجي مغلفة بورقة ذهبية وسوداء وحمراء بيعرفها الشخص عن بعيد إذا شافها. الطربوش جزء من ذكريات طفولتنا ومن عاداتنا ومن تقاليدنا، مثل غزل البنات والبسكوت وراحة. كل الولاد كانوا يحبوا يشتروها لأنه أكلة رخيصة. ليش سموا طربوش؟ فكرة الطربوش مأخوذة من الطربوش اللي كانوا يحطوا على راسها جميع الموظفين في عهد الإمبراطورية العثمانية، ونحن بلبنان كتير متأثرين بالعهد العثماني. من لما كنا صغار شجعتنا أمي إنه ندوق الطربوش وحبينا هالأكل كتير، وبعد هون أمي كل ما تروح على لبنان بتجيب معها بالشنطة علبة طربوش وبتلفن كتير منيح حتى ما يتكسروا، وكل مرة من أشهر واحد بناكله بتحكي لنا ماما قصص طفولتها لما كانت عايشة ببيروت.
Okay, so this project was about الطربوش. As I said, it's like a candy for kids. So we used to eat it when we were little. She talked about where originally was made. It was, made in a factory in Beirut, and she shared some of her mom's memories when she was a childhood living in Beirut, eating this kind of candy. I have another sample project here. As you can tell, that was a heritage learner, but I'm going to share with you another project for a non-heritage learner here.
الأكل في هوائي من أصله الثقافات كثيرة زي هوائي والصين واليابان والفلبين. واحد من الوجبات الخفيفة في طفولتي اسمها سباموسبي، هو زي سوشي وأونيجيري من اليابان. سباموسبي فيها أرز ومارتديلا ونوري. سباموسبي من الحرب العالمية الثانية لما أشخاص كتير كان لازم يأكلوا مارتديلا. بعدين مارتديلا كان شعبي كتير في هاواي. الشخص الأول يلي باع سباموسبي كان مالكي في شي 1980 سنة. هلا الناس عادة بيعملوا سباموسبي في البيت، بس كمان ممكن يشتريه في دكان ولا تعزية زي 7-Eleven. كمان ممكن نعملوا مع بيضة ولا دجاج. في طفولتي أكلتها كتير في مدرسة وكمان لما رحت على بيوت أصحابي. هلا بعمل سباموسبي ببoston لما أخوي وأنا بدنا أكل من هواي عشان عملها سهلة وذكي كتير. لتعمل سباموسبي أول شي هو تعمل أرز، بعدين تقلي سبام أرز وبعدين سبام على أرز وبعدين خلاص. سباموسبي وجبة خفيفة مفضلة للناس في هواي، ولما تزور هواي كل شخص لازم يأكلوا مرة واحدة.
Okay, great. So now you can, have an activity to do or a food to try when you go to Hawaii, which is spam. Okay, so I just want to mention also that the students in this activity or this project had the option to submit their identity artifact project either as an infographic short story that consists of 2 paragraphs with supporting visuals or media, or as a 2 minutes max video with visuals.
إذا بتسأل أي شخص.
Now, another thing that I would like to share with you about this activity, that once the students have finalized the project, students were asked to search for the original place of their artifacts and locate them on the map for others to learn and comment on. So this is important since artifacts have a unique connection with the place where they were produced and are an essential part of the cultural history of that area. That link should be honored by returning the artifacts to the place where they were originally made and used. And you're going to be surprised that we found out, like, for example, I am from Naples, Palestine. So all my life I was thinking that kunafa, which is a very delicious and known dessert, that was originally made in Nablus. But after the research that one of my students did, we found out that the Egyptian, they were the first people to make kunafa. And that applies also to other, products. It could be food or other things. We found out that, we thought, for example, pasta made originally in Italy, but we found out Chinese, they were the first people to make pasta, and so on. Sorry. So students in this activity understood that many aspects and layers of their identities in a healthy and positive way. So students, I believe, should see elements of their identities reflected in their classrooms and schools. Students feel that they belong to our classes once they are given a chance to share and educate others about their identities and heritage culture. Therefore, tasks like this one provide students with the resources, time, and strategies necessarily to reflect upon and better understand aspects of their own identities and those of others. Okay, let's move on now to another activity that I did as part of my course titled Arab Society Through Hip Hop and Cartoons. Students in this course use hip hop music, editorial cartoons, and background readings to learn the Arabic language and culture, of course. And one of the course goals was to educate students about Arab societies. And the course is divided into 8 units, each dealing with current topics such as education, unemployment, public health, marriage, sponsorhood, etc. And at the end of the semester, students had to write original hip-hop style lyric songs that would reflect any of the topics they had studied while incorporating aspects of the Arab culture and their own. And let me share with you here one of the raps that my student wrote. The rap that I'm going to share with you was written by a non-heritage learner, and the other one that I'm sharing, just the script for it, is for a heritage learner because I lost the recording. So let me play the rap that talks about Al-Unusa, which is the Spencerhood, and see how this student was really she took the concepts or the culture that she learned about this concept from the Arab culture, and she also compared it to her own culture, and she tackled the similarities even though her culture is Western, and she compared it to the Arab countries about this concept. And even myself, I was surprised that her grandmother was really constantly asking her if she is in love or if she has a boyfriend and she needs to get married soon before the time passes by and it will be late for her to get married. So let's hear a little bit from her rap.
جرتي تسألني أين هي حبيبي أرقام يوم الشكر كنا لو كان عندي أخطر وأتفق مع الوالدة لأن أتزوج أرجع أفهم شخصي لازم أعرف كيف أعيش بسعادة بنفسي إذا قلت أنا عايش مع شخص آخر لبقية حياتي كل ساعة علم الأسباب لا تستمعي إلى الجدة والوالدة العروسة ما في فجأة عروسة العروسة لا تخاف من العروسة العربي مهم جدا للزواج فهو كثير من الموقع يعطين زيجات الشباب المهارة والتكاليف والنقص الشباب اللطيف يثبت كثير من علاقات المجتمع يعلم النساء ما هي الحلول لهذه المشكلة ممكن أصح البطالة والتوقعات العالية والتذاكر كان في الهجر بسبب الكورونا ونسينا كيف نتكلم مع الأشخاص الجدد كل ساعة على الأسباب لا تستمعي إلى الجدة والوالدة العروسة ما في فجأة عروسة العروسة لا تخاف من العروسة.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed the rap of my student talking about the Spencerhood in her culture and in the Arab culture as well. I just want to briefly mention that the students in here in this project, not only they were asked to write an original hip-hop lyric song, but also to choose the topic, tackle 3 issues, and propose a solution at the end of the rap. And that's basically what the student did in her rap here. Okay, let's move on to the last project that I would like to share with you for today. It's also about marriage and Spencerhood here, 3 P's of culture, of understanding the culture. So, understanding the Turkish culture by digging deeper into some daily practices, such as exploring the explanations embedded in the concept of the dowry, which is al-muhr, engagement, al-khutuba, marriage contract, which is بالعربي كتب الكتاب, Spencerhood, as we mentioned before, al-unusa. When those phenomena are practiced, where, how, and most importantly, why, to clarify some stereotypes and misconceptions. So students here worked together as anthropologists engaging in research and investigation as they explored the cultural viewpoints driving those practices. And in the final step, students evaluated the possible explanations in order to choose the most appropriate rationale for those practices. And as I'm sharing here some of the examples that my students did in groups. So this group here, for example, talked about the dowry. They answered the questions after, of course, they did the research about the topic, what and how and why, which is the tackling the 3 P's of the culture. This one here, they talked about engagement, and the one in here talked about the marriage contract, and the last one here, they talked about the Spencerhood. So each group, they had to choose, as I said, one of those concepts, and they have to do their research to be able to answer the 3 questions, what, how, and why. Okay, and it is time to say goodbye not to the session, but also to the session, to the days of teaching culture in isolation. Infusing culture into our daily lessons not only engages students, but helps to foster empathy, spark curiosity, build inclusive classes, and promote global awareness. Shukran, which is thank you, and I wish you all the best for the coming year, and have a great day. Bye.